Hey, happy day, Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here. Does your company, does your business have a clean bill of health? What do I mean by a clean bill of health? Well, clean bill of health, that expression has been around since the 19th century when ships would be sailing and delivering goods, not like trucking and things these days, and all the different ways we have of delivering goods and services. But back in the day when ships were the main mode of transportation and the main mode of getting goods and services, well, not services, but goods from place to place. And people were afraid to let ships dock in their town or in their city because they often carried diseases. And in order for a ship to be able to dock, the health authorities were sent out, a ship was inspected, and the captain was handed a bill of health, a document called a bill of health, and that allowed them, it gave them permission to dock at the harbor of certain cities. And that expression was spread to other things, other industries, other institutions, and was used in a lot of different areas. You know, a clean bill of health doesn't just apply to disease, although it does with us. Say as humans we get sick and we have a disease or an illness and it gets treated and we don't have it anymore, we then are given a doctor slip or a clean bill of health. Lots of companies require that you have a doctor slip before you can return to work after an illness or an injury. I think it's mostly to cover their own rears and their own liability, but you know, a lot of policies and procedures are developed because of things like that. Now, our businesses also need to have a clean bill of health. A lot of different industries that I've been in, especially personal care products, the food industry, restaurant and hospitality industry, they all have rules and regulations and different organizations that regulate and ensure that you're making everything according to good manufacturing practices, safe food and safety handling practices, so that what you're doing cannot endanger people, human beings or animals, things like that. We have to make sure that our processes and procedures are safe. And when they're safe, they're audited by the USDA, the FDA, the Departments of Agriculture. Different industries have different regulatory agencies that, you know, audit and make sure we're doing everything properly. And then, you know, we get our little certificate and our clean bill of health. In the bakery industry, it was AIB was the name of the institute that audited and said, yes, you are doing everything that you should be doing to maintain food safety and everything else, and sanitary practices that will keep people safe if they eat the foods that are produced by your company. There's all kinds of regulatory agencies in different industries that will give you an outside verified clean bill of health. Now, I'm going to contend that before you ever have an audit or an inspection or an outside agency looking at your organization, you should be doing internal checks and balances and audits, or whatever you want to call them, to make sure that what you're doing is moving toward the goals that you want, and is, when it involves human beings or animals or anything else, or safety, that you can give yourself a clean bill of health, that you can know that you are doing much better than what the regulatory agencies would expect you to. In the food industry, I was in the food industry for 35 years. We never had a citation, a violation, or anything from any outside organization, because the guidelines and the systems and the procedures and processes we followed internally were what we thought were right and what we thought were proper in order to serve the people that we love and care about. And if you approach your business and your customers as if they were the people that you love and care about, and they should be the people that you love and care about because they are the reason that your business exists in the first place. If you approach it that way, you'll never do anything that would ever come close to causing them injury or harm or an unsafe thing. And that's kind of my rule of thumb. If I wouldn't serve it to myself, if I wouldn't eat it, if I wouldn't serve it to my kids, then I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't allow that to happen within my business, you know. And so if you approach it that way, and you think it's common sense, but it's not common sense for everybody, because a lot of people in business owners, they forget about what is important because they're chasing other things. They're chasing the dollar, they're chasing profits, they're chasing whatever, and they forget about, okay, I'm just going to do this little shortcut and that little shortcut, and pretty soon you've done a lot of shortcuts and you've lost track of your original process, and that can cause problems in the quality of your end product, the quality of your products and your service and your deliverability. So every once in a while, I recommend at least annually that you step back, you put on your auditor's cap or your inspector's cap, and you walk around your business. You go through every process in your business, how you do everything, and you ask yourself and look at everything that you do and walk through the process and make sure that it is the way you want it to be, that it is continually improving, that you're looking for areas that could be a challenge, that could get contaminated, that could have a quality defect, that could be a challenge. And if you do that, you will seldom, if ever, have an outside inspector or an outside agency come in and say, hey, this isn't right, this isn't clean enough, this isn't sanitary, this isn't good enough, this is a leak, this is a drip, this is a possible potential contamination area. You'll never have that if you're doing your own self-audits. So I recommend at least an annual self-audit and an overview of your processes and procedures. And now you're at least once a year consciously stepping back and looking at and making sure that you're moving in the direction that you want to move with your business. A lot of times we're growing really, really fast and things get missed and they slip through the cracks, and we want to make sure that that doesn't happen. We especially want to make sure that doesn't happen and have some outside authority come in and cite you for anything. Sick, well, make it an awesome day. If you have any questions about this, hit me up in the comments below. It's an area I'm actually very expert in when it comes to personal care products, food safety products, and food manufacturing. Have an amazing day. I will, of course, be with you tomorrow.